Capricorn, this is Perrymore Tarot's daily reading for February 26th, 2024. This is for Capricorn. Last shuffle here for Capricorn. Let's see what's going on. All right, Capricorn. We have travel and we have courage. It took you, it's like you finally reached this point, or there's something about you being bold and brave and finally being bold enough to go down a certain path, or finally able to face something. That you finally got to a point with the travel. It's like you're going to check your baggage at the door. You're not any longer going to allow something to trigger you, and you're just going to go and face something. Right? Right. Okay, communication. Okay. Whatever this is, this has to do with a partnership or relationship or something here. For some of you, the thing is, like, you may have said a lot of things. With the Eight of Wands, this is about your actions or your verbs, or your words, rather. Verbs. Actions and words, right? Verbs. This spirit's funny. Eight of Wands and Ten of Swords. Oh man, I kill myself. Me and my little humor. But King of Swords and Death here with this. This is talking about the things that you may have spoken. Like, you may have spoken death into your situation and you didn't realize it, and it was because you were not attached, or you were very detached from a situation. There's something about being, yeah. Okay, so this is about the way that you communicate, the way you act, or the actions you've taken have been something somewhat of like, it's like you've been speaking against or acting against your situation at some points. They're talking about how you've gotten better, or you're in a better place, and this is about ending that, or not doing that, or this is like I said, there's a detached feel, and it's all because it's like, well, logically, right? Well, I mean, if 1 + 1 = 2, but then there's 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 1 = 2 as well. There's many different ways to reach a conclusion that will require you to be more open, or more emotionally available. And so they're showing that you've come a long way, and that you're not that way anymore. You actually gotten to a better place. There seems to be some level of you moving on, being, you've learned a lot from your travels and from where where you were in the past, and now you're different. Now they're showing an energy of like, I get it now, right? That you're not speaking against your situation. Sometimes, I mean, the ends does not justify the means. A lot of times, you know what I mean? And that may be a thought process as well. Like, well, I got my point across, didn't I? And that ended up sabotaging a situation, messing things up for you, or creating an ending that was quite painful, that maybe have been confusing, and not really understanding, like, why did it end? I just said your breath stink. You're like, it's like, there's better ways to tell somebody something. And that's very much so. Just an example. I'm not trying to say that you're like crass. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's more like the spirit's trying to show that maybe you were very quick and jumped the gun and said things because it made logical sense, and it did create a distance. It created problems. And so now you're at this place with courage. 7 of Cups and 2 of Cups. You're open to, this is about facing certain connections here. Open to facing the fact that there's many different ways to get what you want, especially if you are open, and you're considering other people. Not that you weren't considering other people, but sometimes logic and reason, it phases out connections. Like, you know what I mean? You can't always use logic and reason when it comes to love. Just like what they say with all's fair in love and war, in a sense, right? Not always so. But you know what I mean? Like, logic sometimes doesn't have any bounds in the spiritual realm or the emotional realm. It's like a computer would never be able to understand how a person feels, right? They just say, well, 2 heads are better than 1. Some people are empty-headed, so we'll require another head. But anyhow, milestone is Knight of Wands and 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, welcome to my little world. That's how my mind works. I'm just going down the rabbit hole already. But the milestone here is speaking about you choosing a path, and you kind of ignoring this path of like being detached. Okay, the milestone is about being passionate about it's very interesting, because like a 5 of Pentacles is like you're starving out this side of you that's like, well, fine, if it doesn't work, I'm not interested. Like, there's no staying power, right? You'll just walk away from a person or walk away from things, just completely cold turkey, cut people off, or something like that. There's some energy of that with you, with a milestone. The milestone also is, if it's not serving you, you are not dealing with it. If it's not giving, then you're not going to be there to receive. You know what I mean? If it's not doing something for you in a positive way, this is not a negative way. This is about you choosing a path where, if you start, because it looks like the root of a lot of this is feeling deficient. The root of a lot of the communications that you had, that they're saying, oh, you were detached, is because you felt like you didn't have something together. So it was like, well, 1 + 1 = 2. I have this and that I need to take care of, because I'm not going to be able to provide this or be a part of. I don't have certain resources. Therefore, and then you cut your nose off to spite your face. And so the milestone is you saying, well, if I start to feel like I'm not good enough for something, I'm going to cut, like, I'm going to focus on, my passion would be to make sure I am bringing that, or I'm providing that, or I'm tending to that energy, instead of, detaching myself and reasoning and justifying why. There's always a justification with this. Like, my reasoning for this would be, the reason why I'm not dealing is not because I don't feel like I'm good enough, but because you're not good enough for me, or something. There's something that you say that completely defeats the purpose, or something, how the way you act defeated the purpose, the way you acted. And so you've reached a space now where you're like, no, I'm open to exploring that. Maybe, maybe there's so, yeah, I know how this sounds, right? But family, friends, and guides are 8 of Cups and the Hanged Man. Your spirit team, your ancestors, your spirit guides want you to see something differently. They want you to realize that you don't have to, like, burn bridges. That you can always revisit something. Like, you don't have to burn bridges and say things or act in such a way that really screws things up to the point, or sabotages things to a point where there's no coming back from it. That there's ways to do something where you can still revisit. Like, maybe it's not your cup of tea right now, but maybe when it cools off, it might be delicious. Like, don't be like, it's too hot and dump it out. It's like, let it sit for a second. It might be good after it steeps a minute. You know what I mean? It's like they're wanting you to see something differently. Like, maybe it's not okay now, but it might be okay later. You don't have to completely burn the bridge, or burn something, or say things or do things that really screw the pooch. You don't have to do that. And it's only because of this energy of, like, I'm not good enough. So why would I even, who cares? I'm never going to revisit that. You might. Spirit is, I don't know that you do this, because I know Capricorns, quite a few of them, and I don't see them as being the type to do so. But then again, this is what it says. It says that you're brave enough to be open to different possibilities here, especially when there are connections, or it could be romantic interest. It could be there's emotions involved. Instead of doing things head over heart, you could be open. You're brave. You're being brave enough now to revisit something and focus and see that there's other ways to deal with things, or other ways to connect or reconnect with people. And be passionate about exploring why you think that you're not good enough for something, or why you may feel like you don't measure up to something. It's important to be passionate about that. Why do you feel that way? Because when you feel that way or think that way, with this milestone energy here, you do things that disconnect you from others permanently, versus saying, let me come right back to that. Let me check on something and then come back when you got it figured out. And by the time you come back in this energy, everyone's like, they're like, I don't want to deal with you. I don't know, Capricorn, maybe so you could be dealing with a Scorpio, a Pisces, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. So you could be a Sagittarius, Capricorn cusp, Capricorn, Aquarius cusp. right? You could also be dealing with the Libra Scorpio cusp or Scorpio Sagittarius cusp. We have Aquarius Pisces cusp, Pisces Aries cusp. If you are not dealing with those signs could also be in your chart. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, my links are on my page. Peace, love, and light. Take care.